everyone. Can I introduce you to Todd Kuerschner? Now, Todd is an automotive lecturer who's taught across light vehicle, heavy vehicle, and motorcycle programs in vocational education in South Australia. His current role is as a coordinator for an international student program that's helping to overcome a skill shortage of automotive technicians in Australia. So, Todd, when we did the workshop around E-tivities, I was really struck by your imaginative use of the E-tivities framework. And it was for subjects and work that many people consider can't be done online. So I thought it was an amazing work, and I'm sure the audience would love to hear more about that. So I'm going to go over to you now, and perhaps you can tell us how you got involved in E-tivities in the first place.
Yeah, sure. So I participated in a polyhybrid design workshop developed and conducted by educational alchemists early in 2023 as part of a group delegation from Tafe, South Australia in Adelaide, Australia. Uh, Through the Tafe SAE Centre of Education Practice, a professional development session was offered, which drew my interest as I'm presently undertaking a teaching degree, a Bachelor of Applied Learning through the University of Tasmania to further my teaching and learning skills and ability. So, at first I was apprehensive about the topic, what we term polysynchronous delivery or polysynchronous design as such. Coming from an automotive program with an applied learning sector such as vocational education and training, sometimes e-learning types of deliveries really not well received by our cohorts due to the nature of the practicality or the hands-on part of the learning. So I guess what was different about the polyhybrid design, I guess, is how the educator constructs the learning schedule in a storyboard format, which becomes easily transferable to a learning management system due to its transparency. You can see a range of lessons at a glance, and because of this, it's sort of possible to follow a logical pathway for subsequent lessons. In my case, I designed a 3-week or 3-lesson e-tivity concerning correctly sharpening a drill bit, which is kind of a common task across a lot of the trade areas.
So that's amazing that you chose something that sounds very hands-on to me anyway.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you say there were 3 activities in a sequence, which of course is always good pedagogical
yep,
practice. So can
yep.
you tell us, what you actually put in those activities, please?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So it was a sequence. The first one, I covered some basic theory about sharpening techniques, parts of the drill bit, what to look out for regarding work health and safety concerns, wearing personal protective equipment. I used a video showing drill bit being sharpened and an example of how things can go wrong when trying to use a dull drill bit. I use that as the spark to engage the students' initial interest, which is part of it's a key part of the activities. Students were given the opportunity to research sharpening techniques prior to participating in a scheduled 2-hour synchronous online session where the students could collegially discuss sketches that uploaded and some of the specifics of sharpening. Um, Interventions from e-moderators, who are the tutors in the online hybrid space, was in the form of reviewing student sketches, providing feedback through the discussions that were had during the synchronous session, and individual feedback provided to each student was uploaded to the LMS. The next activity was designed to incorporate how to troubleshoot a blunt or poorly cutting drill bit, defining what the causes were. Students were given a live demonstration displaying a smoking, burning drill bit being used that was ineffective. And then students were then given opportunities to research the effects of poor or incorrectly sharpened bits to discover what these effects were and sort of how they resulted in poor workmanship. The outcomes of their research was posted to a discussion board to encourage peer contributions and feedback, including from educators. And following that, students produced an 800-word submission to express their views on their discoveries or what factors go into sharpening a drill bit, successfully, including, the highly technical aspects. And then the third activity and the final lesson concerned like extreme cases to resurrect broken or badly damaged drill bits, drills made from different materials such as cobalt or carbide, higher strength steel compounds, or drills that required special sharpening profiles for specialized jobs, that sort of thing. That also included a synchronous session, discussion board posts, and further feedback where aspects were contained in the final lesson. Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me you used all the different aspects of the utility framework and really good use of your learning management system as well.
Yep.
I
Tried.
think it was really good job.
Yep. Good.
So why did it appeal to you to try out what is considered a fairly untraditional area for online?
Yeah, sure. And look, at first it sort of didn't appeal, just because of it's like the reservedness of the suitability to the practical arena of my teaching area. So I think what swayed my interest was how it could become a useful tool in compiling the storyboard as such, with the headings, consistent format, prompting the educator to complete a structured pro forma to include meaningful tasks. I mean, I like the Spark part the most because it introduces a hook or a feature that's aimed at grabbing the attention of the students. I like the rest of the format. It's easily displayed, the layout of the lesson plans. To have that makes the job of designing the lesson easier because you sort of got the chance to effectively build your lesson around the ideas, sort of keeping you on task as such to design what's hopefully motivating content for the students.
Mhm.
I guess its simplicity to use is a feature I really enjoyed, although it takes a little effort on the part of the designer to understand how to use it. But once you break the ice, you're on your way with ease. So I got a lot of good feedback from the peers I undertook the Tafe Essay workshop with when I presented to a forum. And I think having the right attitude to using e-tivity building tools helps to reach a pleasing level of satisfaction, which is really important to anyone who's prepared to enter into this type of learning design.
Yeah. Well, it's really good that you saw the potential at that point, and I really commend you on that, Todd.
Thank
So
you.
the big the big question is, how do you think students respond? Students who are learning your kind of trades, how do you think they respond to activities?
Yeah, that's a tough one, and students who are receptive to this type of delivery, actively respond well because I think when you give them the freedom to explore, it sort of instills a bit of an intrinsic motivation that doesn't kind of restrict them to,
Mm,
do what the teacher says they should do. Having a polyhybrid design, giving them some guidance, but allowing them the freedom to explore their own pathways whilst bringing them back together through discussion boards and synchronous sessions keeps a bit of a structure to the delivery. So like overall, some students enjoyed this experience and some didn't or wouldn't. But I think it comes down to the attitude of the student.
mhm.
I think the use of the design tool and how that storyboard becomes the learning content is critical to gain and hold the interest of the learners.
Mm. Yeah, and I suppose over time, as they use more and more work-based learning online, perhaps it will become more acceptable to
Yeah,
use collaborative tools as well, perhaps in this way.
for sure.
So I do think you're a bit of a pioneer in this area. um,
Thank you.
s- any advice for others, who are thinking of using online, blend, or hybrid for what we might consider non-traditional subjects?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge to create online content that sort of ticks all the boxes for the non-traditional subjects, such as those of a trade background. Um, I guess, have a go at using E-tivities as a design tool and see how it can be used within your specific trade area. Don't think you need to build a complete course 100% delivered online. Start by, a small task, as I did, like the designing of the sharpening a drill bit, for example. From there, you can review your level of success. And once tried with students, you can refine it till it's something that becomes effective. It becomes a test, review, and modify as required model, which as teachers, we should already be practicing in the contemporary structures of our teaching arenas anyway. So, give it a go and see where you can take it, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's fantastic advice for others, Todd. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us.
You're
I do
welcome.
wish you all the best for your degree in teaching practice. That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
And
fine. Thank you.
I hope you'll slip some activities in there.
We'll try, and I'm sort of this close to finishing it. It should be done by the end of this year, so I'm really happy.
Well, let us know how it goes. So lovely to
Yeah,
talk to you. Thank you very
cool.
much.
Thank you. No worries.